All right, thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Basement Boy Banter, episode 5. Very excited to be with you here at Basement Boy Banter, your number one spot for all things Basement Boy related. A couple things we got on the docket tonight. Fantastic Four trailer drop. So we're going to talk about trailer fun over the past couple of weeks. Rogue One got announced back at Celebration last week, so we'll touch on that since that dropped the day after we taped last show. Talk about some comic book stuff. We got some Netflix news. Jared Leto as Joker, some Spiderman stuff, and then we'll wrap the show up with some video game conversation, and then we'll put a bow on this thing and call it a night. Well, let's get right into it. First topic of the night. Oh, before I forget, I'm Thor, by the way. I'm your host. With me, as always, Brian.
Hi.
There we go. Now let's start the show. First topic for tonight, Fantastic Four dropped a trailer Sunday, so day after we taped last week's show. Amazing trailer. The first little teaser was good, but this new trailer was, you finally got to see Sue Storm's powers. You got to see the Thing in action. You got your first glimpse of Doctor Doom. You got to see Reed Richards' arm bend a little bit. So you're starting to get a little bit more feel for it. The tone of the movie I definitely think is set now with this trailer. It's a very dark, more real tone. Definitely going for the origin from the Ultimate Universe. You know, not the classic origin of Fantastic Four, but the Ultimate Universe origin, which I don't mind. Yeah. But overall, I got really excited when I watched that trailer. What'd you think?
I thought it was good. I was pretty excited when we saw the Thing. Like he looks. I'm so excited to see him in action.
He looks
like,
menacing.
Even when he's like still a person and he hits the baseball and hits the sign or whatever, I'm like, yeah. Like his character is, I don't know, very well.
Well, like we talked about
established
last week, I think, is he's not a huge guy, but he's got that anger and he's got the personality that you think Grimm would have. So it completely makes sense when he transforms that personality carries over. And it's more the personality traits as opposed to the size of the actor playing the role, especially in this day of CGI. And they can make anything really. It doesn't matter. It's personality and how you portray that character as opposed to your physical stature.
Right. Well, and it feels almost like I don't know, like a episode of Captain Planet where everyone's got power rings based on their personality or whatever. It's like, I turn on fire because I'm fiery. I can stretch because I have I
would love to see a Captain Planet movie. I would, this is way off topic.
Did you ever watch that little? God, who was it by? I think it was SNL. Someone made a funny thing with Captain Planet. We have to watch the video.
We'll have to check it out after the show.
It's really funny.
That was one of my childhood morning shows. That was just one of those guilty pleasure shows. I mean, it was completely ridiculous and stupid, but I think it'd be kind of funny if they did it in the right way. But totally off topic. Back to the Fantastic Four trailer. First look at Doom. It's not what you think. It's a different take on Doom, but that's okay. We're going to talk about some Joker stuff later, and that's a different take on the Joker we got to see the other day, too. But for the Doctor Doom thing, you look at it and you know it's Doctor Doom. Yes, it's not what you expect, but you know right when you look at it that's Doctor Doom. So, I don't know.
Yeah, it's decent. I don't know. Doctor Doom isn't what gets me excited about that trailer. It's the Thing.
The Thing, and I like the Human Torch stuff. The Human Torch stuff is awesome.
Yeah. There's gems in that trailer, but I don't know. The dark tonality of stuff gets me kind of sick of dark toned superhero movies.
It wasn't as dark as Batman vs Superman trailer. That trailer was complete no joy whatsoever. Compare those Batman vs Superman trailers to some of the Avengers trailers. And I mean, you can very much tell what DC's going for versus what Marvel is. I mean, they've really drawn a line saying, this is us, this is them. It's not the same thing.
Well, and that's the one thing I wish, and that's not to say that we need more darker toned movies, but I wish DC would go for a lighter tone on more things.
I'm actually curious to see once we get to the Flash and once we get to some of these other lighter characters. They're going to have to lighten it up a little bit.
Hopefully.
I mean, Flash doesn't work dark. He doesn't. Look at
that doesn't mean they wouldn't try.
Look at the TV series. The TV series got some good humor. I know you haven't seen much of it, but it's got some good humor in it and good one-liners. And the Grant Gustafson who plays the Flash in that, he's got the right
Mix.
Yeah, the right mix. You know what I mean? And personality and stuff like that. But so now with the Fantastic Four trailer coming out, so in the past 2 weeks we've had a new Ant-Man trailer, the Star Wars trailer, the Batman vs Superman trailer, and now the Fantastic Four trailer. So in order of 1 to 4, rank the trailers.
See, I still think Ant-Man is probably number 1.
For you? Wow, okay.
And this Star Wars trailer, I wouldn't rate very high. The other one, I like I said, I like that one better. Trailer liking is not necessarily which movie I'm most excited for.
Well, yeah, a good trailer doesn't mean a good movie. Look at Transformers 4.
I liked the new Fantastic Four trailer, so I'd probably go Ant-Man, Fantastic Four, Star Wars, Batman vs. Superman, which by no means is that trailer bad, but out of 4 gems.
Okay, from last week's episode, if you couldn't tell, I was very lukewarm. Like, we literally just watched that Batman vs. Superman trailer right before we taped. I really hadn't had a chance to digest, watch it multiple times, look for little nuances in the trailer, stuff like that. But regardless of all that, in a week, my stance really hasn't changed. And we'll get into this more later, but I think DC's making a mistake in the approach they're taking for this cinematic universe, in the jumping off point. I mean, I love that they're telling the Frank Miller-esque Dark Knight story of Batman versus Superman, but, and we'll get into this later, I don't think they're making the right move in that aspect.
Yeah.
Now, with that being said, that trailer onto itself is better than I thought it was last week. After I watched it a couple more times, some of those lines in there, and some of that, when you hear Jeremy Irons talking, some of that stuff really works. And we don't know anything about story, how they're going to introduce Aquaman, Wonder Woman, any of this other stuff. So at first glance, I was really underwhelmed. I just was. After a couple more viewings, I warmed up a little bit too. It's definitely not number 1 for me.
Yeah.
Number 1's going to be Star Wars. That trailer was amazing. I mean, that trailer brought grown men to tears. Like, not me, almost. I mean, I might have shed one. Han and Chewie will get you, but that's definitely my number 1 with a bullet. Number 2, I think I'm gonna have to go Ant-Man. I was more than surprised at how much I liked that trailer and some of the shots in there. I mean, just some of the action sequences and the train shot we keep talking about and stuff like that. I mean, there's just some amazing moments in that trailer, and it's Marvel. Marvel's got a proven track record. I trust Marvel.
Yeah.
DC, I don't trust as much. But I'm actually going to put number 3, Batman vs. Superman. It's like, probably last week it would have been number 4. But Fantastic Four is going to be number 4, but in no means are any of these bad trailers.
Well, it's
just
Fantastic.
different. Yeah, it's just different levels. I mean, we all have different opinions. You put the Star Wars trailer a lot lower than I did. And I put... Well, mine were kind of similar to your order, but just with Star Wars much higher.
Yeah, we both agree Ant-Man's high on that list.
Yeah. Oh, Ant-Man. I think Ant-Man was the surprise of the 4. Of the 4, that one was the most, wow. You know what I mean? Fantastic Four to a certain extent, but the first teaser already let me see that, okay, this isn't what I was worried about with all the rumors that happened prior to dropping that, and the production stuff that was said, and all this stuff that's gone on. But let us know what you guys think. Let us know in the comment section below. Put your 1 through 4, rate them. Let us know, if you agree with us, disagree with us. We'd love to hear your guys' opinion. So moving on from there, Star Wars, big Star Wars week last week, continued in through the weekend and stuff. We finally got some more information on Rogue One. We knew it was called Star Wars Rogue One, but now we know it's Star Wars Anthology Rogue One. And what the anthology just means is they can tell any story they want in the anthology series. Your episodes are your episodes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But in between there, you can drop as many stories as you want from as many, depths of the galaxy as you can pull from. And I really like that they're going with it. It's not Star Wars, episode 3.6 or whatever.
Yeah.
They're giving them their own separate title, but yet still in the universe. And then we got a quick synopsis for it. Pretty much what it is Felicity Jones plays part of one of a rogue squadron, a little rebellion sect that's out to get the Death Star plans that Leia ends up with. So it takes place between episode 3 and episode 4, a little bit closer to episode 4 than episode 3. So the Jedi are all but extinct. And from what I've read, like the absence of the Jedi is felt through the galaxy. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be definitely much more war-based or battle-based, because you're going to have the Empire and the Rebellion going at it without any Jedis, no lightsabers, probably no force of any kind.
Mm-hmm.
I like where they put it in the timeline. I like the sound of it. I mean, they kept talking about it was going to be the bounty hunting story, where Boba Fett was going to be the main character, and it was going to follow the bounty hunters trying to get the Death Star. Now, there's nothing saying that can't still be part of it.
Yeah.
But I think it might be the bounty hunters on one side. You got the rebels on one side. They're both racing for the Death Star plans. And it's kind of the story of how the rebels inevitably get them to Leia, before episode 4 starts. So after hearing all that, what do you think?
See, I like the idea of them making Star Wars a more elaborate universe and like doing crossover stuff, like the way the Avengers and all that stuff happens is, you have your main movies and then your little tie-ins
Yep.
that kind of make it fun. And everyone wants to know, like, we all like the Jedi, the main stuff from Star Wars, but everyone wants to know more about the this or the that.
What happened in between, 6 and 7? What happened in between 3 and 4? These big gaps in time just leave themselves stories. You
right.
know what I mean? And they open themselves up for so many different stories to be told. Mm-hmm. So, no, definitely. There's a rabid fan base out there that just wants more, as much Star Wars as they can get.
Well, and there's plenty of people who aren't about the Jedis. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
yeah. Oh, there's
the
a bunch
Jedi,
of Sith lovers out there for sure.
I don't even mean Sith. I mean, don't care about lightsabers. They want to know about the other aspects
they're more
of the
interested
Star
in
Wars.
the galactic.
Their favorite
Senate
character is Han Solo. They want to know, or like bounty hunter stuff, right. Or about the Hutts, or you know what I mean. There's a lot of people who don't, because Jedis can be boring just because they're like invincible warriors. At least the way the first, second, and third one portray them.
Right.
The actual first 3 didn't do it as bad, but like
the original trilogy, because there was only really one Jedi. I mean,
right.
Obi-Wan was still there.
Well, and he avoided using his lightsaber until pretty much the third one. He like tried to avoid using it as much as possible.
Yeah.
Like if you watch it, he uses it, but pretty seldomly. Whereas in the new 3, it's like every 5 minutes they have a lightsaber out and they like knock over robots like they're a joke, and it's like that's so boring.
Yeah.
People want to see like the laser fights and stuff, and there's a big fan base for stuff that doesn't include Jedi. Because true. The universe is huge and cool other than even like without the Jedi.
Well, like what we were talking about is telling like the old Republic stories at some point. I really hope they do that. I mean, that's ripe for just cherry pick stories from.
Well, there's so much from everywhere.
Then you don't have to worry about the Skywalkers and all this. You can go thousands of years back in the timeline and tell, like, when there were Sith armies, Jedi armies. Now, yes, they were boring when there was all these Jedis and droid armies and clone armies. But if you had a Sith army and a Jedi army where you have the equals going at it, that could be
or even
so
stuff just like they have the gauntlets that can grab the lightsabers and then they break them, and that. So what they have is they have these special gauntlets. I forget exactly what they're made of, so don't
someone tell us in the comments, because I have no idea what he's talking about.
But what they do, you can hold the blade of a lightsaber with them. They're basically lightsaber proof.
Okay.
And what they do is if you interrupt the beam, it'll break the lightsaber. So what they'll do is they grab them and then they pop them, and the lightsaber basically turns off and won't work for a while.
Oh, okay, it won't work. I was gonna say, isn't it like, because aren't lightsabers powered by like a crystal?
Yes.
They get into that in like Clone Wars and stuff, where they have to like
all over the place.
Right. And
Star Wars is strong with it, but it's
strong with the Force.
It's one of those things where they don't really smartly. They don't talk about it too much in the movies, kind of like how they ruined the Force with midi-chlorians. Like, don't ruin lightsabers.
Well, I don't think you'll ever hear that word again, ever.
Right.
I don't think you'll ever hear the word
less is more when it comes to Jedi lore. But yeah, there are gloves. It's like an armor that's specifically made to be able to handle lightsabers. And what you can do is you can break the lightsabers. And a lot of Sith warriors would wear those gloves. So
is this
then
back? No, is this back old
Yeah.
Republic timeline? Oh,
mm-hmm.
okay.
So like when they would have, because you can't train that many Sith to like be warriors, like it takes time.
Right.
So they're regular troopers. They would give like special
give a
weapon
special armor to
or like they have something called vibroblades. They're blades that vibrate and they can stop lightsabers. They're not as strong, but they can like
they're
go
a good defense, like quick defense.
And then they do the same sort of thing with the gloves, so you can basically have hand-to-hand combat taught soldiers, and they can catch swords kind of like way back when, you know, you catch it with a gauntlet, and you can break the saber and then win in a fight, you know what I mean? You don't necessarily need to be a lightsaber trained Jedi and use the Force to make you fast, whatever. You can throw a bunch of shock troopers who can have the special gloves and and all you have to do is reclaim the gloves. So it's not like it's an expensive tool, you know what I mean?
Right.
Whereas like a gun could jam or break, the gloves are much less likely to break because it's like a piece of armor or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's going to be more easily repairable. So it's easier to equip your troops and throw them out, and then they can beat up Jedis, and then you have them like with strewn across, like you use your Sith not necessarily as generals, but kind of like
almost like you send them all as pawns. Not to be destroyed, but to kind of lay down a couple waves of them and then send your stronger warriors afterwards. It's all strategy and war and stuff like that. No, I get that.
Yeah.
No, I hope they tell some of those stories. It'll be interesting to see what the next spin-off is, because the rumors of this spin-off have been around for a while, and a lot of them have kind of turned out to be somewhat accurate. But it'll be interesting to see what the second spin-off movie is and where that takes place, because I haven't seen much. I didn't watch the canon panel from Star Wars Celebration. I still need to watch that, but they haven't really said anything about the Old Republic, like what's canon, what's not canon, you know, like it'd be interesting to see where they go with that.
And my hope is they kind of go like this, so like they're going forward with the episodes. My hope is they kind of go backwards with the anthology. Yeah.
I don't know if they'll do that. What I'd almost rather see is them do like a trilogy after episode 9, maybe take a break from going forward in the story, and then not prequels. I don't want to scare anybody. I don't want prequels, but jump back like 2,000 years and tell a story from, tell a trilogy from that timeline.
I wish Disney would go back and fix Star Wars, the prequels, because they're really.
You mean the prequels? Yeah, they can't really touch the prequels. I thought you meant like fix the special editions.
No, I wish
and
they
give
could
us like the original Star Wars.
That would be nice
like,
too.
Not the special editions with the added garbage footage and stuff like that, but the original
Disney Vault.
So I don't know. I mean, there's still those DVDs floating around. I got the set where you have the special edition, and then it's got the disc with the original theatrical version, but it's only in like stereo, so there's no Dolby, no widescreen. It's not like cleaned up or anything. But that's how I want to watch those movies. I don't need those movies cleaned up with audio. I want to watch them. I want the video to be how the video was and the audio to be how the audio was when I first saw those movies as a child. You know, because if you clean up the video and clean up the sound, I mean, how is it that much different than the special editions? Yes, you take out some of the explosions, the dumb Jabba the Hutt scene in New Hope. You fix some of those errors, but realistically, why clean it up? Leave it just raw like that. That's when that's when it's Star Wars, you know. So, but we digress as usual. So moving on from there, some comic book news. Good old Frank Miller put out a tweet this week talking about something about his silence is deafening. I can't remember the exact tweet. I'm spacing on it right now, but turns out he is writing a third part to The Dark Knight. So he wrote The Dark Knight Returns, obviously a classic, what Batman vs. Superman's being based off of. Then he wrote the follow-up, Dark Knight Strikes Again. Now he's co-writing with Brian Azar. Nope, I lost it. He's co-writing with some dude. Dark Knight 3, which they're calling the Master Race. It's got something to do with Superman, I'm pretty sure. It looks pretty interesting. Just they put out a cover picture, and you'll see it here in a second when it pops up, but they put out a cover picture. It looks pretty cool. I'm interested. I love The Dark Knight Returns, one of my favorite comics. You know, one of the first graphic novels I read, that, and Watchmen. I started getting into some of the Batman stuff from like the late 90s, early 2000s. And then I jumped back and read some of that stuff. And that stuff's just so well written. And I mean, that's what really changed comics at that time and made it like more gritty, more dark in the comic book, world. So I was excited to hear he's coming back. Now, no artist has been announced as who's drawing the comic. Pretty sure it won't be Frank Miller, but he's co-writing it. I'm excited for it. Have you ever read any of the Dark Knight stuff?
Not the Dark Knight stuff. I dabbled in a few like Sin City, Watchmen stuff, so I've kind of understand the.
Have you ever read Watchmen? Like all the way through?
Not all the way through.
Really? If
but
you want to,
I'll
borrow it to you. That is, I've probably read that book. That's probably one of the only books I've read like 6 or 7 times through, and it's a tough read too. It's not like you pick up most comics or graphic novels, you can get through it in an hour, a couple hours. Every time I sit down and read Watchmen, it takes me like 2.5 days. And not because I'm stupid. I mean, I'm partially because I'm stupid, but not fully because I'm stupid. Partially because it's a much more in-depth read than your basic, comic book.
Right.
Just the way it's written and the way Alan Moore and them wrote that story is just amazing.
Well, and that's a good thing.
Oh, no, definitely. That's why I like that Zack Snyder, the Watchmen movie. I like that more than most people. I don't mind that they changed the ending and stuff like that. And I mean, shot for shot, that is pretty much that comic book, though. If you watch like certain scenes in that and then go back and read the comic, it is almost shot for shot like that way. Well, and that's impressive.
I like that movie too, but there were some people who told us like they were coming out of the movie and they're like, take the film and bury it somewhere because that was bad. And I'm like, it's not that bad, man.
No,
like, calm down.
To add in some of the stuff for the giant squid at the end, and I mean, you gotta make that movie like 2 hours longer, realistically, to make it make sense. I don't know, but again, we digress even further. But yeah, that's I don't know. I didn't see a release date or when that's gonna be come out, but probably I'd guess this year at some point. So be on the lookout for that. So we'll move on from there. Biggest shocker of the week, and I mean, get ready, your jaws are gonna hit the floor. Daredevil got renewed for a second season. Whew, that was a tough decision on Marvel and Netflix.
Yeah, ooh boy.
That took a lot of head scratching and meetings, I'm sure. So that got greenlit for season 2. I thought it was kind of funny. Charlie Cox did an interview and said he'd like to see the Punisher and Elektra in season 2. So if they do a second season of, instead of like Luke Cage, Iron Fist, if they did Punisher and Elektra, we've talked about this a little bit. We've touched on, but I definitely think there's some great characters they could do for the street level. I mean, they make it anything like, if any of their shows are even close to Daredevil level, I mean, bam, you're done.
I'm not super like Elektra. I don't know. I'm this way or that on that. Honestly, I'd much rather see Punisher, Ghost Rider. Like there's
Moon Knight. There's other characters I'd love to see, but
Elektra's kind of low on the list.
Well, she's very closely tied to Daredevil, so that's why it'd be kind of be a no-brainer,
right?
So
except for she's boring, in my opinion.
In his opinion. So moving on from there, yesterday we got our first look at Jared Leto as Joker. Pretty different.
Yeah.
I know you basing dwellers out there are divided on this. Us at the table are kind of divided on this, I think. I don't know how to feel about it, to be honest. There's a couple things I like. There's some stuff I really hate. The tattoos, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't hate them, but they're unnecessary.
Yeah.
The hair's on point. He looks crazy as hell. I mean, the look of Jared Leto in that picture, like, that looks scary.
Yeah.
The teeth with the silver grill, again, not so much. The purple glove, all right. Joker's got to have some purple. Now, it's just a picture. This doesn't mean anything about how the character's going to come off on screen or what he's going to look like clothed. I mean, I'm sure he's not going to be running around shirtless with a purple glove all movie, screaming in the camera like Home Alone or something like that. But I just thought it was different. I'm not sure yet. I guess I don't know. I mean, I want to have an opinion one way. I don't love it, but I don't hate it.
Yeah.
I guess I can't really say. I mean, what do you think?
I think it's cool that they're willing to try something different and make his look a little bit less classic, but The problem is some of their decisions are kind of, and maybe we'll be wrong. Maybe it'll totally play off as
Maybe
good.
he's in a purple suit the whole time and you never see the tattoos.
Or maybe the tattoos actually make it way cooler and we just preemptively think it's going to be bad. I don't know. The tattoos don't bother me, but like you said, they're unnecessary. So it's one of those things where I'm like,
well, a lot of people
really
hated
don't
the first
need...
look of Heath Ledger as the Joker, too.
Yeah.
I keep thinking about that. I was like, you see a picture and you assume a bunch of things from a picture. When you have no idea until the movie's on film and you're watching it in the theater, there's no way of knowing if it's a good or a bad thing.
Well, the biggest thing is, can you steal the screen? I mean, if he can't steal the screen, it doesn't matter what you dress him like. You know what I mean? He could be perfect word for word, genetically modified to look exactly like the comic, but if he just is like, like,
no, I mean,
it's not going to happen.
From that picture, you can tell that's going to be a maniac of a Joker. I mean, I think they're going to amp up the crazy factor by 10.
Which is good.
Which is good. Well, as long as it doesn't go overboard to a point. I mean, can the Joker really be overboard? That's a question, I guess.
But even if they go overboard, that I almost think that'd be like a nice change of pace from like the subtlety they've tried. Like they still want him to be crazy. They have tried, but he's a little less. Like he hits points where he breaks, and then you're like, whoa, he's losing it. It'd be kind of interesting to see one that's losing it the entire time he's on screen,
or just doesn't even have it to begin with, just completely off his rocker.
Which, whether it'd be good or bad, we'd have to see in the context. But
going back to the tattoos and the fake teeth, a couple of the theories I've heard floated out is he's been in prison for a long time, and it's all prison tats. And then the other thing I heard is that Batman busted out all his teeth, which is why he's got all fake teeth, and then silver caps on some of them. That would be kind of cool if they do that. I mean, there's some things they could work on. I don't know. I don't know. I just feel like everything DC's been putting out lately has me worried.
Yeah.
Whereas Marvel, like everything they put out has me like, even Fox with all the Deadpool stuff and the X-Men news and all the cast, like I just have Days of Future Past was great. I loved Man of Steel. I just don't. I have this really bad feeling in my stomach about DC. And that kills me because, yes, my name is Thor, but as we've stated before, I am much more of a DC fan than a Marvel fan. When boiled down, I mean, 3 of my top 5 superheroes of all time are DC. So it's going to hurt me a lot if DC isn't good. Like, that Green Lantern movie killed. Like, I still feel pain over that Green Lantern movie. I don't like to talk about it because it hurts so bad. I don't know. I'm more, which I should probably be more invested in the Marvel, but Marvel's good. They don't need any, well-wishings. They're off and running, printing money. But DC, like, I want them to do good. I really do because I love those characters and they need to be done justice to on the big screen. And I'm so nervous.
Yeah.
So nervous. The trailer, the Jared Leto thing. I mean, it's all just got... Even Common being cast in Suicide Squad, that's got me nervous.
Yeah.
Because I like Common as an actor, but who's he going to be? Like, a bunch of people are saying Green Lantern, which I really don't think is true. But if that's the case, then that gets me even more nervous. Because what the hell's Green Lantern doing in a Suicide Squad movie? That's not how you introduce a Green Lantern. I mean, he's an intergalactic police officer. What the hell is he doing with a bunch of... rogue super villains working for the government? I mean, there's no... I don't know. It's just I don't know.
Let me give you one point. I agree. It would be bad to put Green Lantern in that, but I actually took a creative writing class, and the teacher told us something that was important to note. He said you have to build a baseline of believable stuff before you can go with the crazy stuff. So you have to put someone in the world where they'll get, like, they get the world and it's founded, and then you throw a unicorn at them.
Ground the character before you make it, like, completely out of this world.
You put them in something like Suicide Squad, which we understand, but then you throw the aliens or the this or the that. You know what I mean? You ground them in something normal, then you move on. Which I agree might be a bad decision.
Common is 46 years old or something like that. Do I really need a 46-year-old Green Lantern? I don't think so.
Yeah.
Give me someone younger. Give me someone I can work with for a few years. And this goes into the topic I was talking about earlier, DC making a mistake. We're going to get to this in a little bit because I'm already getting fired up about it. Because it's starting to bug me more and more. The more I think about it, the more it's starting to piss me off. So let's get through these last two things real quick because the last one ties into all what I want to talk about. So, Lord and Miller, the guys who brought us Lego, they're doing the treatment for Flash. Mm-hmm. They're writing a treatment, writing a script. I'm not sure what, but they're doing something for Sony, an animated Spider-Man film. It's going to be a full-length feature. It's not going to tie into the Marvel Cinematic Universe or the Spider-Man standalones. This is animated, all its own thing. I'm excited for it. I think it could be cool. I mean, anything these guys put their hands on lately, 22 Jump Street, they're doing no wrong at this point. So I'm on board. Yeah. And I'd like to see a little standalone story of an animated Spider-Man. I think that'd be kind of cool. So what do you think?
I think it'll be interesting. Like you said, those guys right now at least can do no wrong. We'll see after Spider-Man and anything else they decide
Lego
to
Movie 2
mess up.
They got coming out, a lot of different stuff.
If they keep it up, I have no problem. They can keep pumping stuff out, and I'll keep watching.
So, and then last thing real quick before we get to the big topic I've been teasing all show. There were 5 names dropped for Spider-Man. A couple of them I can't pronounce or wrote down wrong. Then we got Liam James, Tom Holland, and Nat Wolff are 3 of them. I know very little about all 5 of these actors. These are rumored names to be up for the role. I think they all look like babies.
Yeah.
I mean, they look young.
Well, that's because you're an old man.
See, yeah, this is true. They can use this actor for the next 10 to 15 years if they want, which is smart. That's the one thing I agree with, is now you're getting someone where you can keep the cinematic universe going and you can have Spider-Man part of it for a decade if you want. If it's successful, works, if everything goes according to plan. So what do you think about, does any of the names jump out to you? Any of the guys you know anything about?
No. They all, some of their faces kind of look familiar, like I saw them flipping through TV or something. I don't know.
I think one was Ender's Game or something like that.
Yeah, that's actually one of the faces I recognize.
There we go.
But it's like, I don't know. None of them look Spider-Man-y. I don't see any of them and go, whoa, there's Peter Parker. They're all kind of...
I kind of felt the same. Like they all just didn't...
But like you said earlier, half the time they shoot these lists out and it's somebody completely different.
And that's what I hope. So curtailing from this, how they're using the Spider-Man to get someone really young to use for the next decade. Marvel's smart in doing that. DC is going the route of Ben Affleck, who's 42, I want to say.
40,000 years old.
He's older than me, and I'm an old man, according to you. So DC wants to go with an older Batman. They wanted to go with the Frank Miller Dark Knight. But they're trying to start a cinematic universe from this point. Now, yes, Marvel's not starting from Spider-Man being 15 like DC is. They're already established, but this can carry them for another decade.
Right.
DC's starting from an older Batman. Superman, he doesn't age, but you're starting with an older Batman. Let's say Common is Green Lantern. A middle-aged Green Lantern. So... your window for storytelling is what, 5 years?
Yeah.
Maybe? Depending on how fast you can pump these movies out. How long can, Ben Affleck's going to be playing Batman at 60? In Justice League 3? Like, come on. It's not going to happen. So, in the short term, yes, I love seeing the Dark Knight stories being told. I love the way they're setting this up. It's great to see. But, the longevity, you know what I mean? Like, I want to see continuations. Now, are you going to reboot Batman? Recast Batman? I mean, who knows where it's going to go, but I think it ties your hands at a certain point having an older Batman, whereas Marvel, has a longer window to continue doing things.
Well, I actually had an idea for
All
what
right,
they
let's
probably...
hear it.
Okay, so the big point we see in this Batman versus Superman is his suit, right? The big robot suit. That's like something that they are very
that's straight from the graphic novel.
You know what they're probably going to do? And I'm no expert. I don't work for anybody, so I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
They're probably going Batman Beyond. Think about it. You
Maybe.
start with an old Batman.
Maybe.
You're showing off a suit. And let's be honest here.
You know what I'm thinking, though? I mean, maybe, and I would love that because I do love the Terry McGinnis Batman Beyond storyline. But what if there's a rumor going around that if you saw the picture online of the tombstone with Dick Grayson written on it, he's already dead. They eventually introduce Damian from like New 52, who eventually becomes Batman. I could see him doing that. But I like your idea a little bit better.
Well,
I would love to see that.
And what makes me think it'll happen, and maybe they'll do a little fusion. Maybe they'll make Damian Batman Beyond. But,
type.
like they'll do the suit or the idea behind Batman Beyond, but give it to Damian.
So so you're talking like a hybrid suit where it's like almost like not the metal suit we're seeing in Dark Knight.
Right.
But not the old school suit where it's a hybrid of like
something
technology and
similar to Batman Beyond, but not that advanced. Because let's be honest here. When we're looking at Batman, okay, some of his gadgets are still kind of neat, but we have like Navy SEALs with more advanced equipment
than Batman has at this point.
But that's because he's stuck in his old Batman suit.
Right. You
give him Tony Stark jets and upgrade his suit to a super Iron Man suit. You make him cool again. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think they're to a point, and I think that might be why Ben Affleck's so old, and the reason they're trying to jump is they're like, Batman is old. The movies need to move on to new Batman, I think is the goal here.
So start telling, possible. I
love Batman.
To be honest with you, until you just said that, I never even thought about that. As starting from that point, they want to, start telling a new Batman story, but that just makes me upset then because then I'm never gonna get like a good Dick Grayson. Yeah. I'm never gonna get Nightwing. I'm never gonna get
But it opens the door for new stuff.
But that's the stuff I want. Like they're not making movies for me. They're making the movies they want to make. You know what I mean? And I have to accept that. I guess maybe that's part of my hang up is that it's gonna be cool stories, and I'm super excited, and I love DC, but they're not the stories I want to see. You know what I mean? I want a middle-aged Batman, not a middle-aged. I want a
30-year-old
in his prime Batman. You know what I mean? With maybe the first Robin's already moved on,
right?
And is Nightwing, and he's Jason Todd's already dead. Because there's also rumors going around that there's the Robin suit in the Batcave in Batman vs Superman. So a Robin has already existed and died. Maybe it's Jason Todd. Maybe it's Dick Grayson. I mean, obviously we won't know until we see the movie. But so I don't know. Like you bring up a good point though. I never really thought about that. They could move it forward. I mean, they'll have to do something unless they're gonna just reboot it at a certain point.
I don't. They're invested too much.
Build? I was gonna say why build towards all this if you're gonna have to reboot it in 10 years.
I'm thinking Batman Beyond. That
52-year-old Bruce Wayne.
I'm gonna be the guy going 2-0 here. I gotta get this one right and then come up with another good one.
We'll write this one down and we'll reference it in a couple of decades.
I'll beat Thor.
Considering that'll take place in the year 2030 or something like that. I'll be 50 by that point.
If we're still doing Basement Boy Banter.
Hell, if I'm still alive. So, all right. Moving on from there. Wait, where are we moving on from there? You have a topic you want to bring.
Warhammer.
Go ahead.
Total War trailer. Saw it. Really good. Showed it to Thor. What did you think?
For people like me who have no idea what Warhammer is, give a little rundown of what it is and what it is.
I guess the basic synopsis of Warhammer as a sort of franchise is Warhammer
is a game, first off.
It's a tabletop. You build models. You paint them, and then you battle other people's models. That's its core.
That's where it started?
Yes.
Okay.
And then it's moved into video games, and there's two sections of Warhammer. Warhammer and Warhammer 40K. Warhammer 40K is based in space. Warhammer is like medieval times sort of stuff.
Swords and sorcery type stuff?
Right. And usually with Warhammer, there's sort of like a formula. There's humans, or the Empire or the whatever. They follow, they're like your classic human, fanatical, usually very religious kind of group. Then there's the exact opposite, which is chaos or undead, or you know what I mean? Like they follow like basically evil humans.
Okay.
And then there's always orcs.
Everything in Sword and Sorcery
Right.
have orcs.
Well, even in the space version has orcs.
Prerequisite for wait, did you say space version has orcs?
Yes.
You lost me.
It's actually there some of the funniest things in Warhammer 40K. So you know how like a spaceship needs to have certain components to work?
I didn't know orcs was one of them.
Orcs has a magic power. So if they believe something will work, it will work. So, like, let's say they have a gun that wouldn't fire in a normal person's hand. They believe hard enough, and the gun will fire. So their spaceships can't fly unless they're being driven by orcs, because orcs have a psychic power that makes it so.
Okay, you're starting to lose me. Let's bring this all back to the trailer and the game.
Boom.
There we go.
The game, Total War, Warhammer. It's just Warhammer in the Total War, kind of like all of that other Total War subsections they have. The trailer looked cool.
It did look cool. I've never played this game. I mean, the only strategy games I have any experience with are from the 90s when like the first Warcraft came out and you were like building little villages with your dudes and stuff like that. And I know this is much more advanced than that. But the basis,
the concept
the guts
is
are all still there,
yes,
right?
Yeah. It's just like the difference between Doom and Battlefield 1000. Right. You know what I mean?
The trailer looked cool. It was all, I mean, the trailer I watched was all cutscenes. He showed me a little bit of the gameplay stuff, which looks all right. But the cutscene trailer was amazing. I mean, that looked cinematic quality, which a lot of them do at this point.
Usually Warhammer goes hard on their cinematic quality trailers just because Warhammer fans are pretty serious about like the way they want everything to look and how it needs to be. Like you need to feel something when people are getting like fighting, and like the Dawn of.
It's got to have that Warhammer feel.
There was Warhammer 40K Dawn of War. It was a game that came out a while ago.
Okay.
It had a very good cinematic cutscene with like Space Marines killing people, and like it was well done. It was a very fun trailer. There's like this giant robot. It like grabs this dude and it's like, I have come to destroy you. And then he smashes him against a rock and just like crushes him. But he's like very monotone robot when he does it. Right. So it's like, it just like makes you laugh. But they make the trailers appeal to the guys who have played with the little figurines and pretended like, I'm going to crush your orcs. You know, like the game is
they cater to their fan base is what you're saying.
And they do a good job. And that game looks like, bare minimum, even if the game's bad, it'll cater to its fan. Oh, I don't even remember. I didn't look at the date. I was too excited watching the trailer.
So be on the lookout for that. I'm sure probably, I'd say fall or, we don't know. When all
Tell
games
us.
come out eventually. Yeah, let us know. Or if I remember next week, we'll drop the release date in the end of the show. But, well, that sounds cool. I liked it. I like the trailer. I mean, I'm not as big of a gamer as I once was.
Yeah.
Obligations get in the way of my gaming time.
Well, and there's so many games now. It's hard to even call yourself a gamer when are you a PC or a console?
Yeah, my 8-year-old nephew is the hardcore gamer of the family now, and we're gonna have him on at some point to talk video games. I know he's pretty hard into Battlefield. Hardline, Frontline, the newest Battlefield. I don't know. See that I'm so far off of video games. And then the last game I played was Batman Arkham Origins.
Yeah.
But when Batman Arkham Knight comes out, I will have it, and we will definitely talk about that because I'm super pumped for that game. So, well, with that being said, this wraps up another episode of Basement Boy Banter. I want to thank you, Basement Dwellers, for joining us. As always, I'm your host, Thor. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, ThorIsGR8. And they can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Look in the link below or just search Basement Boy Banter pretty much in any of them except Twitter's Base Boy Banter. And we'll catch you guys all next week.
Bye.
If you like what you just saw, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our videos, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and like our Facebook page. Ready? All right, one more drink. Just one more drink.
Scotch.
Yeah, well, rum, but same shit.